the house.
Let's go down here and try to look for the propane tank on the left.
Okay.
That's your job. Look for...
There's supposed to be a minimum of 10-foot clearance around those. Propane, we know we use it for fuel to heat our houses. We know it burns, and we've seen spectacular footage on when they go boom. But it's a very safe industry if we maintain codes. I mean, because it's used everywhere. We see propane tanks going up and down the road. We see literally hundreds of them going by on rail cars, but we don't hear propane accidents every day. But if you had a fire and you had that much fuel around it, this one could literally go boom because it's just common sense. I build a stack of fire, you know, on top of a propane tank, the expectation is going to go boom. So the minimum clearance of 10 foot, meeting the code, does make a difference because it is a safe industry. They build in a lot of safety features, but now we've just overcome the safety features that were built into code in the construction of that tank.
Good.
So yeah, when they if this were to burn, do they have a pop-off valve or something so that you get a plume, or do they actually explode?
These tanks have all been built with a pressure relief valve, and sometimes if you got it filled up and they leave, the guy leaves, and you smell some, and it's part of that thing to release it when it has too much pressure.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and so that's part of it, and it doesn't release a lot. It just releases enough to bring it down to minimum standards. Because then it might have been a warm day, because you know that stuff's like minus 71 degrees inside as a liquid. And if it's 110 degrees outside, it's trying, you know, the sun's trying to heat that liquid. It creates more gases, more pressure, so it might release a little bit. So now imagine putting a flame impingement. That's when the flame directly touches it and heating that vessel up like boiling a pot of water. You're converting all that liquid to gas, which expands 16 to 32 times more inside this balloon that won't expand. And so it will release more, and so it will let the fuel escape. But unfortunately, it's a wildfire day. Now we have an ignition source. Okay, because even after it escapes, you need at least 800 degrees for it to ignite.
Oh, really?
I'm telling you, it's a safe fuel in most cases. So that's why when the car driving by, it doesn't go woof. If you had gasoline, it might do that. Gasoline might go woof. But propane, you know, that's why you can smell it, and if someone's smoking by it, doesn't go woof, and everybody explodes and burns up in the fire, because it is a safe fuel. But you still need the precaution, you know, because there are certain areas that will burn. It has to have the right air-fuel mixture, too rich, too lean, and it has to have a high enough temperature. So, you know, it'll escape. And propane is scented with that smell on purpose, because in its natural form it has no smell. So, if you meet the minimum code requirement, it's pretty much safe.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would it be a good idea to have as little as possible of propane in the tank during the fire season?
I say not. I say not, actually, because it sounds kind of backwards, but when you kind of think again, you know, because being a fireman, I deal with this. The tank, when it's propane, when it's in its liquid form, is minus 71 degrees. So you've got a cold product inside this vessel. So it's fighting heating this vessel up. So it's just kind of like which is more dangerous, a gasoline can with a quarter full or completely full? Because there's more air mixture creating more pressure. So there's actually more pressure when it's half tank inside that vessel than when it's full. And I kind of think it's something that we could think about and go back and forth.
Yeah.
But the safest way is to maintain the clearance.
Yes,
which is
clear the
completely
weeds
a different subject.
If it's clear, you can have
no
it full
wonder
or
that
empty. It
it's
won't
filled.
If you had your
matter.
clearance, it wouldn't even be an issue.
Exactly. Yeah.
It wouldn't be an issue because unless you had flame impingement, flames against it, there's probably a less than 1% possibility we'd have issue with it, but it wouldn't really matter. But we could talk about back and forth why it'd be dangerous, but if we had our clearance, we wouldn't even be having a discussion.
It's like people with O2 tanks. That people think you get near an O2 tank, it's going to blow up.
Right.
It's not. It's just going to burn better.
Yeah.
That's why people sit there with O2 with oxygen on smoke. They
Even
don't
if
blow
this
up.
had a clearance, let's say the release valve blew off and it caught flame, if it was to release enough pressure, the release valve would shut down and that flame would go out. Because the only thing flammable is the gas that's being released. And as long as the valve's operating properly, it'll shut down by itself.
In fact, that's what we do. We cool the tank with water so that the valve shuts off and we don't have the flame anymore when we go to a propane tank fire.
Yeah.
Because it's not the tank that's burning usually, it's heated up and it's blowing out the excess gas.
So you put water on the tank.
So you put water on the tank.
The danger in the tanks is that the tank fails because it's been heated up. The metal's been heated up beyond its rated strength, and so it fails. That is the danger of propane. It's not the flame that's going straight up, because that's where it goes. It doesn't go left or right. It goes straight up and burns like a torch.
Yeah, well, which will torch those trees.
Yeah. But that's not the danger of propane tank fires. The danger is when there's too much pressure built inside the tank, so it explodes like a balloon, or it takes off like a rocket, a flaming rocket, because the tank failed. And so, but those tanks are really strong, and because the reality is there is so much propane transported all over the U.S. and across the world with less standards than ours, and we just don't have that many failures because it's just the industry standards are pretty good.
So would